Welcome to Podnutz Pro, show number 48. This is the show where you come to and you expand your knowledge and try to learn a little bit more beyond the box that many of us live in. And the co-host of the show, the star, he is the Kobe Bryant of the show, or Drew Brees of the New Orleans Saints, Matt Rainey. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good on Leap Day.
Leap Day.
And this will be the only Podnutz Pro ever to be recorded on Leap Day. I can guarantee.
Are you saying this that we won't be doing this for the next 24 years?
Actually, I checked longer than 24 years.
Seriously?
There's no Leap Day that falls on a Wednesday in the next like 30-something years. So, and if it does happen, we're still doing it in 30-something years, we will, in honor of this show, broadcast on another day other than Wednesday.
All right, man. Cool. So, what we got for today? What's the agenda?
I got a couple emails and a couple issues, or one issue that I had that I thought was pretty interesting, and then a little something about Windows 8. So a couple emails. So I guess first, I guess we can start off with, well, you want to do Steve's email first? It's a slightly older email we hadn't got to yet.
This email is from Steve. He goes, Matt, I don't know if these questions are what you need for the show, but your answers are really helping me get things squared away. So here goes. Does installing RPC over HTTPS component on a live production Exchange 2003 server cause any issues with user accounts, configuration, etc., or is it completely painless? I don't think those words ever are used in our field, but install, go enable. I'm just wanting to be careful and not cause a restored nightmare due to not taking the time to at least research a bit if there are items to be aware of, precautions to take, etc., etc., when enabling this component. We have our CA, which is, I assume he meant his certificate installed, 443 port 443 punched to our firewall, and Exchange Active Sync working perfectly on our smartphones. And Outlook Web Access works just fine as well, but such an outdated web application by today's standards, so I doubt we use that very often. You'd be surprised, my friend. Oh, it's very strong today. Enabling RPC over HTTPS would be nice for Outlook on our laptops to connect without VPN. Once again, I am thankful for you and Lalo for taking the time to put out a show every week. And we have day jobs, which we do, which makes it a little bit more difficult. But give Steve a thanks also. Your show fills a big gap about the content I was looking for. Well, thank you, Steve, for the kind words.
Yes, awesome. Sorry we couldn't get this earlier. We get a lot of emails, which is great, but sometimes we don't get them as soon as we would like to, or else the show would be like 3 hours long every day or every week. So, yeah, one though about the Outlook Web Access. Yeah, Outlook Web Access is great because a lot of times people just need email. They don't need a full Office suite. So,
or
Outlook Web Access is great to use.
Or the company I used to work in, when hotspots became really popular, McDonald's and what's the coffee shop I can't think of, Starbucks. A lot of our employees would go in there and actually go through OWA to check their email and just log out. So.
Yep. Now, the RPC, I can tell you I have never had an issue enabling this on a live server. Not once. I've never worried about it. Actually, the first time I did it, I did worry about it. I did think maybe I should do this after hours. But, again, this goes back to your policies and procedures. If you're used to doing work after hours for your clients at no extra charge, which I don't agree with, because you have to have a life. You can't work all the time. So you might want to do it after hours if you're nervous about it. But I did it. I've done it during hours, and there's nothing. It's just like flipping a switch. Let traffic communicate like in this manner. So. What do you think, Lalo? I've never had an issue with it. I say go for it. Like you said, install, go enable.
Right. The 3 environments where I used it, I just installed it and let it rip. But, I come from the world where I did this at night, so I had no fear. But the fact that you do have, I guess the signs of a good admin is that you think twice about it. But if you do your research, and like Matt said, he's done it time and time again. But as always, make sure that things are squared away. You know, you got a good backup just in case. But enabling this, I haven't heard a horror story yet.
Yeah, I haven't either. And the thought about having to do a restore, I'm not sure what you would restore because it's not going to mess up the database.
Right.
I mean, you're just enabling another way for Outlook to talk to the server.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost the same thing as saying I'm going to allow POP3 access now.
Right.
Or I'm going to allow IMAP access.
Either it works or it's not going to work.
Right. So.
And then Computer Pro put in a good article on how to configure all this. So.
And he doesn't mention, obviously he's not using small business server because he's just saying Exchange 03. Small business server has this enabled by default. You just have to go through the wizard. I think it's the Connect Internet Wizard. There's a wizard you go through in Exchange 03, small business server, to just pretty much allow the traffic to go through. But server 03, you do have to just tell it, yes, turn us on. You just go for it. Sweet. Sounds great.
You know, it's kind of normal, but for me, I tend to internally kind of think about things twice or think about the worst possible situation, you know, but I tell myself, okay, if the, you know, I got to go back up, I've done the research and blah, blah, blah. You know, when you fully prepare for making a change like that, I mean, you're pretty much good, but when you're like a cowboy, that's when you have to worry because you can't be a cowboy. So.
Yeah, and there's some people who say, "Oh, you should do this in a testing environment," and you should.
Which is true. It all depends. And
a small business is not going to have a test environment.
Exactly. We have a test environment where I work in with. It's a full blown entire network that's set up, and it's isolated. But is mom and pop they're going to have that with one server and 3 workstations? No. So.
Yeah, it's hard enough to get them to buy one server, much less
yeah.
server for testing.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, we need to duplicate this whole entire environment. What?
Right. Right.
Maybe.
Are you crazy? I'm gonna find a new IT guy. It's not gonna tell me that I need to work and try to make me feel guilty about having a backup server.
What I've also done is I've had virtual machines. So in environments where I could not have a actual test lab, if I could, again, you can't really assimilate every scenario that you're trying to do, but I would just throw it up against a virtual machine and go, oh, okay. So.
Right, and so you're coming from the case where you're maybe an IT staff at a company,
right? Not
charging per the hour,
right? And
so if you're a contractor, you can give the option. Definitely, I can do this in a virtual machine, and it's not just pertaining to his exact instance right here. Exactly. This is any kind of change you're making to a server. You can definitely give them the option to say, look, I can make a virtual machine, and we can make these changes. But a lot of smaller businesses and even medium businesses, I would think, they're not going to want to take the expense. They're going to say, what do you think the risk is? Do you think it's going to cause a problem? Do you think it's going to crash the system? And if you've done the research and done your homework and you can give an intelligent answer of it should be fine.
Sure.
So.
Nope. And I agree. So you should be A-okay. Alrighty. Which one should I read next there, sir?
How about Josh? Yeah.
All right, Josh. The subject is a change 2007. Got a question, Matt. What's the easiest way to transfer one individual mailbox, let's say owned by Alan, and attached to his new profile named Tim? And I think you had responded to.
Yeah, I just wanted to get a little more clarification of what exactly he was doing. So he wants, let's say he's got user 1. He wants user 1 mailbox to move to user 2 mailbox. So it's a different user account, different mailbox. How do you get the information in mailbox 1 and 2 mailbox 2? And I actually had to do this today. I thought this was kind of funny. I got this email after I did this. This is an email I got today. So I'll tell you how I did it. And it may not be the most elegant way. I'm sure there may be some kind of automated way. But for little jobs like this, I export to PST and import to the new mailbox.
There you go.
And that's it. Well, look at that. Yeah, it looks like a new mug.
No, I can only wish. I can only wish.
So if I was doing a bunch of mailboxes, that I might use EXmerge or some kind of exchange deployment wizard. But one, I'm just gonna log in as user 1, export the stuff to PST, log in the user 2, import it back in. And we discussed that's if you actually want it in his mailbox. I think we discussed before how just to have him see the mailbox.
Right.
But if you want it in the mailbox, you could export, import. You could also do the things we talked about before, where you just give user 2 access to user 1's mailbox and let him drag into his inbox, to his sent items, whatever stuff he's looking for. Maybe he doesn't want everything. Maybe he just wants a few months. He could drag and drop. You could show him, here's your mailbox, here's that one, drag and drop what you want. But if he doesn't want to do it, you can always export and import. I find that the easiest way.
And I'll have to agree, because when I would get this request, not that often, I would get this request when one of higher management left the company, and I exported to a PST, and the other manager wanted to look at his email. We just mounted PST, and that was it.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Sometimes they're just easy. I mean, sometimes we can overthink. I mean, not, of course, not for this. Sometimes you can set up different scripts, I'm sure, and do but the time to do all that stuff is just. This particular user today that I had to do it for, I was done in 15 minutes.
Right.
So pretty quick. I could have looked for other solutions, but their time researching it would have taken longer. Exporting, even if sometimes you run into a problem if the Exchange mailbox is big, 8-9 gigs, you might have an issue. But usually when that happens, I'll just make sure if they have Outlook 2010, it's not an issue at all. You got the new, even 07, I believe, right? So you got the new Unicode.
Right, the different format.
Yeah, PST file, so it's not an issue. It would be an issue if you had an old, all they had was Outlook 03. That might be an issue.
Because 03 goes, was it over 2 gigs? It doesn't,
2 gigs.
Doesn't pay too nice.
Yeah, and if you have Exchange 03 and you do it EXmerge, it'll kill that 2 gigs also, because it's basically creating PST files. So in that case, I would probably drag and drop what they needed.
No, I agree. Alrighty, next email is from Rob. He actually wrote this to Steve, but Steve had forwarded it to me, so I shall read it. Steve, I just wanted to send you a note to say thank you to you and everyone else in the Podnutz community, from current and past hosts to people in the forums. A few years ago, I started listening to you while I was in school taking classes on computer repair. I went on to get my A+, and then soon after purchased the Tech Site Builder and your laptop videos, which are great, and you can find at podnutz.com/deals. Last year, I started a side business out of my home in order to earn some extra money and gain some experience. My business keeps me busy and usually do a few jobs a week. This is all extra money and was not intended to take the place of my 9-to-5 regular job. I work in a large retail store doing something completely different in the IT field. But my dream for the last few years was to get enough experience and knowledge to get into the IT department in a company I have worked for the last 23 years. I interviewed for a solution center analyst 1, which is an internal help desk, and was offered the position. I've learned so much from everyone in the Podnutz community and just wanted to tell the newbies to stick with their dreams and they can accomplish anything. Take every opportunity to learn and share with others what you know. I have so much to learn and am excited for my new adventure. Your hard work is more than appreciated than you imagine. Thank you, Rob. What a nice email that is.
Yeah, that is good. Good that he's able to do that. That's very nice.
And what Rob's saying is correct. You gotta start somewhere. I mean, you can't be a pro overnight or by taking a class or reading a book. There's the foundation that has to be laid, and you just build on top of it. I'm I'm gonna just use me for example right now.